Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Dante the Don.
DJ Dante the Don, baby.
Of course, I cannot play this without him. I also happen to be wearing my Ashley Schaefer BMW shirts for Let the Boy Watch. What a weekend. It was not great for me, but Don, you had a nice, comfortable weekend knowing on Thursday night 2 players scored 100-something points. How did that make you feel, buddy?
Like it was about time. It was a rough start to the season, especially for my Bengals. Burrow and Chase, they came out the gates very sluggish. I think, by the way, I think Burrow is
He's back.
definitely injured still. I think he rushed back way too soon. I don't think he's playing anywhere near 100%. But yeah, they were definitely not clicking for the first 2 months, and I don't know. Hopefully they are now, and hopefully this isn't just a fluke, and they can keep this up as we roll into the fantasy playoffs because I need it.
Yeah, you do need it. You know what else? I put up 2 back-to-back duds, and I'm now on the outside looking in. Of course, let's go ahead and jump right to our matchups. I actually had an email open. I'm going to get to that later because I really wanted to read this. But Dirty Randy, Jake's back. He put it on me again. Russell Wilson threw that last second touchdown, and I had Alvin Kamara drop that easy 70-yard touchdown, which would have been the difference in this matchup.
Still cannot believe that he did not hold on.
There was no one within 15 yards of him.
I know, it wasn't like
I have to look. Keith. Keith was fine.
He's the guy that like randomly happens to. I mean, he is like the man.
He's their stud. He's their stud. People are on the bench like cheering and everything, and then there's like, oh, he just like what? I don't know. So I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? But yeah, I guess you can complain that was but I didn't get a great showing. Buffalo's defense gave me was the third highest score for me, so that wasn't great. Spider next matchup was Keith and Spider. Keith without that Alvin Kamara, he could have had even more points, which who knows, but it maybe helped him a little bit. But dude, Bomber's team is just trash.
Bomber is crashing fast.
If he doesn't win this weekend, he is potentially in a position for me to knock him out of the playoffs. It's going to be an interesting finish to the season.
I honestly don't think anything would make me happier, Bob.
Well, his team has given up. Let me just.
I'd rather not make the playoffs and have you knock him out than me make the playoffs and him make the playoffs.
That sounds a lot like how people vote in the election these days. It's true.
Yeah, I agree.
So jumping down, Nino and Tony B, man, I hope.
Is Tony catching fire?
I hope to God. But if you look across his results for for the season, his top scorers are just random as fuck. He has look Chuba Hubbard, what?
Yeah, that's
Phillies D and Robinson, whatever. But he hasn't scored more than 20 points all year. He scores 30.
I don't know though, man. I watched that game because I had money and on the Saints, and I mean he's so fucking good. Like
Chuba,
Bijan. Atlanta doesn't use him enough. I mean he doesn't go down. He's impossible to tackle. He's so fucking fast. Inside the 10-yard line, he's scoring. Like you're just not stopping him. He's such a fucking great player.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Tony hasn't really used him much, and he hasn't really done anything other than this week. Nino was just, kind of, he needed this win, I think, more than Tony needed the win. So we'll see how that works. What's crazy about your win, Dante, is the fact that you failed to score 200 points after having like 100 plus with 2 guys. That to me, it does make me nervous for you. Like if Joe was not Joe, I mean, you could have played anyone else in the league. I'm sorry, let me check to that. Anyone else in the league, and I mean, no one else really scored it high. I mean, you still got the high score, didn't you? I think so, yeah. But like,
Yeah, by 50 points.
yeah, well, you beat your opponent, Joe, who would have actually beat a decent amount of guys this week. But still, I was kind of, no offense, dude, I was kind of cheering for Joe just like to come out of nowhere and just come up, at least make it close. Because I had a feeling you weren't going to break two. You were at one point projected to score 240 points. I don't know if you saw that. I was like, this is wild. But yeah, you took care of business, and I hope, like as we said at the top of the show, that kind of bodes well for you going into the final weeks here. The Wigger King came out for you and scored some points. You had a dud by your homie from Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, and he's kind of been like the key, as I've mentioned a few times in these casts for you, and you didn't need him this week, so that was good. What do you think going forward for those guys? I mean, well, you mentioned that, but you think Kurt is your answer, or are you going to look for something else?
No, I'm gonna ride him out. I mean, I'm second in points scored now behind Scotty, who I play this week, which will be interesting. We're kind of fighting for
Second
that
place.
that last playoff spot.
I really think it's more so about Bomber. So I'm just gonna stop you there and leave it where you said I'm cheering for Bomber to suck, and more than I am cheering for my team. The final matchup of the week, Ham and the little bitch. You know what? I'm so happy that this game was low scoring, as I predicted. Low scoring, and Ham came out and actually, smug little bitch, suck it, Dell. All right, 2 losses in 1 week. That sucks. But you know what? That's what happens. That's what happens when you're just too cocky, and you don't play the corrections for the predictions or the polls. What do you think about Dell's chances moving forward, Dante? I mean, I think he had a nice little run, but I think he might be in trouble now. I think it might be over.
I don't know, man. It's a crapshoot in the last month of the year. You know, like it's a lot of divisional games. Usually low scoring contests, close contests, so guys don't really go off.
Right. But to the point that Bomber made last week, he is getting healthy. So I will give Dell a lot of credit here. He's got McCaffrey back now, and Drake London is showing up, and I don't know if Brown is, to be honest with you. But he came out and gave a nice performance for Dell. Let me flip to the league standings while I have you here before we get out of here. Ham, of course, this is points for. The records are up here. So you got Smug still in first. He's clinched. Tony's second. 6-4. This is what we're talking about with Bomber. If he loses this week, he can get passed by 3 people, and then also now be in trouble of getting in. When Scotty comes on the show in a couple of weeks, we're going to do the whole breakdown. But points for, as you said, you're second now. And there's not a lot of room between like me and, let's say, you. That's 1 week that you could, So I'm really happy that there's like that parity this year in the league. So it'll be cool to see what happens. Things will still. That's why we did the Tata rule, because everyone now still is like in play, and things are, people should still start their guys, no matter what.
We got to get to a point where we're doing this head-to-head shit is just so stupid.
Well, put it on the list.
I mean,
put it on the list. We're gonna vote for it.
I mean, if you look, dude, I do every year. If you look at like someone like Dell,
yeah, look, his points against is like he's the lowest in the league. Yeah,
lowest in the league. His points for aren't that great. He just lucks out every week. He catches people on bad weeks, and
he and I are literally the reverse situation.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fucking stupid. I mean, so if we did the highest 5 scorers a week get wins and the lowest 5 get losses, it's way more fair. It's way more
Do you think we should do, like, again,
bait.
like we mentioned in the last cast, do you think we should do, like, there is going to be head-to-head because it's still fun for shit talking. So you get 1 point for winning your head-to-head, and then if you're in the top 5 of scores of the week, you also get another point. I think that helps separate. I don't know. So I do want to real quick read this. This is from back in 2015 before we go. You know, this is a 2015 weekend after Keith hosted this. So, of course, I'd like to nominate myself for the weekend for the MVP, but my second choice is Keith. He put on a hell of a show on Saturday, followed by the worst decision of his life by driving with us back to Stanley's, and we closed down Underground. Malik, he was a special kind of guy, still is. All his performance-enhancing party favors, and you owe Dell money for the tow because that was the day when Malik disappeared and he left his car in the driveway when Joe decided to tow his car.
That was
The show.
9 years ago.
9 years ago. Tony apparently had a pre-cum issue at this time also, and fed Boomer, Jake's dog, a condom. Carter was there, or as we called him back then, Agent Z. He showed up and took a time off of his Black Ops Splinter Cell to hang out with us. Dell actually did put on a good performance and made it the whole night, so that's a noteworthy performance for him. International Kevin showed up at the casino and put his mouth where it was, or put his money where his mouth was on the craps table. So, you know, again, that was when Jake also showed up and took over with the draft and brought the board. So that was the first time we ever had the draft board. So that's awesome. Paul apparently left his phone at the restaurant and made some poor pregnant waitress run after us with it. So, Don, you were on the decks that night, and it was nice to see you at the club. So Justin Blackman is still in play. So what was great was 15 years ago, this stuff is still, you know, fresh when you go back and look at emails. So I just wanted to remind you guys, I appreciate you all for keeping the memories alive and keep it going. Don, do you have any final thoughts before I let you go? And let's move on to the next. We're almost at the playoffs, guys. We're almost at the playoffs. I think I'm gonna have Joe Malik next week, by the way.
Oh, dude, I distinctly remember that drive back to Chicago, and about halfway there, Keith sobering up and being like, "Why the fuck am I going to Chicago right now?"
That was karaoke night at Stanley's.
Yeah, and we were like, "Dude, it's gonna be so worth it. Trust us." And
yeah.
he was like second guessing it, but we ended up having a night. It was great.
I think we got some mashed potatoes at Stanley's, and that was when Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were giving each other BJ's in the stairwell. That was what happened there. I don't know, a long time ago. 9 years. Oh, Scotty, Scotty was expecting his first one. I mean, crazy guys.
Joe Buck and Fernando Tatis.
Oh, Fernando Tatis. Excuse me.
Senior.
Joe Buck is gay. He's gay, as everyone likes to say on this podcast. He's a white and he's a gay. Don, thanks for stopping in for Week 10. I'm glad I did it because a lot of people were like, no one responded. No, it's okay if we don't do it because no one's required to now at this point. So, guys, a lot of fun left to go in this draft. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. I'm glad that a lot of us are really, really close this week or this year. So, let's get it going. Don, anything final?
No, thanks for doing this, Bob.
No worries, guys. All right, we'll check you next week. Good luck to everyone this week and enjoy. Later.